What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, Duel Commentary. Got a match for you guys that's as much about the duel as it is about flat-out fan service. I'm playing against Nesh. Nesh's rating was 1746 at the beginning. If I'm not mistaken, I was 1740. Nesh opened up the duel with Leo, which I believe got him 10 sin. I believe he just passed turn. He tried the I summon Yamato, just passed, and what's it called? Dumped the hair into the graveyard. He tried to summon Bear. I bottomless trap hold it, and then he just set a monster, and then basically that leads us to where we're at now. You see, I duality for Harumi, Turtle, Aristruda. I really don't want any of them, to be honest. I kind of want a defensive trap, something like a breakthrough skill or a solemn warning or something like that. I'm gonna take the Harumi reluctantly, and I kind of got to get rid of his face down monster. I have a suspicion that it is a fire hand, so I'm gonna shuffle him up. I'm going to banish my fire hand, and then I'm going to banish my hair, and then I'm just going to crash. And if it's an ice hand, it's really not that big of a deal. I wanted to use my hair and attack because I felt like if I didn't, then all he was going to do is just make a rank 4 C during his turn, and that would have been no good because it just would have spiraled out of control. I could end up losing or something like that. Now you see my hand is very offensive, but not very defensive, as all I have is hair in the graveyard. Now, I say that this duel is about fan service because clearly you can tell that me and Nesh are both very big One Piece fans. We have our favorite villains as our avatars. You see I got Hody Jones. He has Terika for Law. I probably mispronounced the fuck out of that, but I still know the guy. I mean, I'm 560 episodes deep. And from what I understand, the next arc is like very focused around him and Smoker and Luffy. That's the Punk Hazard arc, which I'm probably going to start in like a week or so. All right, so you see that Nesh uses his Tensu summon to summon Rooster, and then he gets a Tenki by launching the Tensu, and then he goes for Spirit. Now he already has Leo in the graveyard, so I'm like, oh fuck, he's about to get a ton of cards here. Really, not much I can do because I don't have any traps. I mean, I've got a you know, a very good counter hand, but it kind of boils down to, you know, like what I draw, I guess. So he goes Horse Prince. I would imagine he's going to summon his second Rooster, and he's going to just get rid of the Tenki and get another formation card. Regardless, right now he's getting advantage after advantage because not only is Horse Prince going to get him a Rooster's probably going to get him a Bear, and then on top of that, he'll just be able to launch that Tenki to get another card. So it's pluses for days. You see he gets the Bear. Well, I mean, one way or another, he's going to get me to use this fucking one hair in graveyard. And then you see that he launches his Tenki to play another Tensu. I think I may have called it 10 Sen at the beginning of the duel, but that was a mistake. And now, since he has 2 Roosters on board, which is, it's very rare, it's very rare that you see someone have 2 Roosters, he goes into Lion Emperor, which is a card that's seldomly used, but it's really, really good. Mainly because it just puts Spirit back in your hand. I mean, granted, you can't use Spirit that turn, but if you've already used Spirit that turn, you're good. So you see he attacks with Horse Prince. Obviously, I'm going to use Hair. And I'd eat some damage, 400, because this guy's 23. My guy is 19. And you see I'm already loaded for Crane. I fully expected Nash to try and crash into Yamato, and maybe he was thinking about Carnation or Crane or something, but he does not take the bait. He's just like, huh, should I attack? And I was so ready for this guy to attack, and I was gonna Crane the fuck out of him, and then I was gonna, you know, summon what's it called, and he doesn't. He just goes to main phase 2 and he sets a monster, and I was so disappointed. So I end up drawing another Bujin Carnation. So I normal summon my Mikazuki. Well, first I look at my graveyard and I realize, okay, well, I can't summon Harumi, so, you know, there's no point of even thinking about that. And I ask him if he has a response, and it doesn't appear that he does, so I'm going to go into Susanoo O. I really think that maybe instead of going into Susanoo O, I probably should have went into Exiton Knight here. But, you know, common sense isn't that common. Yeah, I think that I should have went into Exiton Knight because he has 8 cards total. I would have had what, 2 on board plus 4 in the hand, that's 6. So I would have been able to just erase just all of advantage, and essentially he just would have been fighting back with his spirit. But I figure I can get similar results from the play that I did, which is going into Susanoo, dumping, what's it called, dumping Quaylin into the graveyard, and then using Quaylin to pop Tensu. You know, the way that I look at it is, well, this way I pretty much accomplished the same thing. I mean, I killed both of his monsters. I killed his Tensu. It's just, you know, I get a better monster on board, and if it lives, I get to trigger its effect again. So I definitely knew that I had to get rid of that Tensu, because you don't want somebody to have spirit and be able to summon twice. Now, if he one-on-ones my my Susanoo, I really don't care. In fact, I was really hoping that he would one-on-one it, because, you know, I could go Carnation. I have no problems killing a 101. Don't get it twisted. 101 is really not that hard to kill with Bujins. It's just 101 doesn't pose a threat to me. All I'm going to do is just go Carnation and make another Susanoo, and once you use your 101's effect once, it's pretty much done. It's just going to sit on board and wait to die against this deck. So I felt like I did pretty good there. I mean, I killed both monsters. In addition, I got rid of the Tensu so that he can't summon twice, because I already know he has Bear in hand. I was hoping that instead of going, I was hoping that he would go Spirit, because he doesn't have any formation, so it's not like, you know, he could play Bear and pop my guy, but he doesn't have any formations. You see, I'm looking at the chat. I was just trying to see what people were saying. So he's thinking, he's looking at his graveyard, and sometimes double Carnation isn't the best. It's not like super ideal. Sometimes you'd rather have like a Maxi or something like that. I really wish I had a Maxi, knowing my opponent has Spirit, and it'll be the second time that he gets to use it in a duel. So as you can see also, when we first started dueling, heck, we're even dipping now. We only got like 38 watchers. So this duel isn't being watched by that many people. And obviously Neshi is taking all day, looking at his extra deck. And what exactly is he going to do? He has Fire Fist Bear, and he has Spirit, which will just get him tons of plays. We already know that. And I think, yeah, he's already used 2 of his Tensu, so I was like, okay, that's the biggest thing. Both Tensus are gone. He can't go ham on me, and Fire Fist rarely ever OTKs, so I'm not concerned about that. He plays Tenki, and I'm like, okay, he has to be going for Wolfbark, because what else is left in his deck? But the fact that he went Tenki, which he does go for Wolfbark, that now means that he can blow up my guy with Bear, and I was like, fuck, that's not good. I still thought that there was a chance that he would go Spirit, but I mean, why? Spirit would struggle to get over Susanoo. Alright, so he goes Tenki Pop. My Susanoo goes down. I eat 16. Now, the one good thing here is I realized even when he got Bear's effect, there's nothing good for him to get with Bear. He gets Goyoku, but even without me running Decree, I'm not a player whose decks are ever susceptible. Bujin just as a deck is not susceptible to that card. It just isn't. I'm convinced of it. Too many times, if you're playing hand traps, like either all your protection in Bujin, your hair, turtle, you know, either that shit's in the graveyard or it's in your hand, things like Crane. You're hardly ever reliant solely on back row. Now you see I top deck another Crane. I don't know why. For some reason, I just continually draw my Cranes together. So at this point, I've got some thinking to do, because I have to make the right play here. He already has Spirit and what's it called? He has Spirit and he has Wolfbark. So it's like, all right, he can counter a lot of what I'm doing. I figure the best way for me to win is to just try and kill him with OTK damage. I was thinking that. I was like, maybe I should try and OTK him, or, you know, I was like, I already have 2 Cranes. So you see, I pull up my calculator, and I'm like, all right, how much damage can I do? So I'm like, all right, I've got Susanoo's 4,800 attack, plus 2,100 from Harumi, and then I've got 17 from, what's it called? I'm like, I got 17 from Hair, then I minus the 16 from the Bear attack. I look at his life points, and I'm like, wait a minute. If I Cowboy main phase 2, I can just win. So I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna go for an OTK. I'm going to ignore his back row card because last turn I dropped Susanoo on him and he didn't use one of the back rows. He only set one additional card. So I was like, all right, well, whatever. I'm just gonna go ahead and ignore it. So you see, I banish Mikazuki and I summon Hirumi, and now I enter battle phase. I attack with Susanoo. Then I use Crane and damage calculation, which may have been a mistake. I don't know. You guys decide basically. So he eats a ton of damage. I think 3,200. Yeah, he eats 3,200. You see, I'm clicking over my calculator for some reason. I attack for 38 more. He takes 17, and again 21. He's at 600, and I'm like, oh, okay, I got this shit wrapped up. I'm like, let's go into Cowboy, and yeah, that's pretty much the end of that. And yep, thanks for coming. So he tells me I can't, and it just dawned on me, holy fuck, I can only use for Beast Warrior and Beast type monsters. Now here's the thing that I didn't realize, and honestly, yeah, that mistake was huge. I totally forgot that I could have just summoned Crane because no, I'm sorry, I normal summoned Rabbit. Okay, yeah, there was no other play there. Yep, I'm lunching. So I kind of thought about it, and I was like, fuck. And you know what? This is actually the duel before I took Tsukiyumi out of my deck, which I'm not sure if I would have used it here because I wouldn't want to have set my Bujin Carnation. Well, he has MST, because I mean, if I set my Bujin Carnation, he's probably gonna go Yoku it. So I'm like, fuck, that was a huge misplay on my part. So obviously you can see I fucked up right there. And, you know, I'm in the chat and I'm like, fuck me and my cheating ways. And I say he's a villain after all. Hody Jones obviously is the reference there. And yeah, that might cost me the game. Now, if he leaves something in attack mode, I can obviously OTK him, or I can obviously finish him off. And Nesh promptly says, you can't cheat a cheater. Obviously talking about law. So I assumed he was going to go in the 101. I was like, great, please go in the 101. You can have this Susanoo. I'll just use my Carnation and make another Susanoo. So I was like, all right, I'm really not scared. And then he went into Ragnar Zero, and I was like, fuck. I hate that card. I hate it so much. Now, I have one here in the graveyard. Here's the thing. I go ahead and I let Susanoo die. Number one, because it lets me use Carnation. Number two, if I would have used my hair on Susanoo, not only would I have not been able to use Carnation, but he just would have waited for me to try and attack, and then he would have used the effect, and I would have lost my next battle phase too. I know my only way of winning this duel is to, and again, I've got 2 Beast Warriors in graveyard, is to go 2 Beast Warriors and hope that he doesn't have a Bottomless or a Torrential or something, and that my hair can be used on the effect of Ragnar Zero when he obviously activates it, and then whichever one lives, or whichever one gets an attack through, I can just crane him for game. But if he has anything like any type of responses, like a Book of Moon or something, I can essentially be fucked up. But I feel good because all I'm going to do, I'm going to activate Carnation, I'm going to get Mika and Yamato, and I'm just going to try and attack, and hopefully he won't have anything like a Solemn Warning or something like that, because if he does, then all I have is this shitty ass Crane, and that's no good. So people are telling him in the chat, I guess, he had better win. Now, if I would have top decked another Beast Warrior, that would have helped too. I say that because obviously I'm going to summon my 2 Beast Warrior back, and they do have protection, but again, I have to use some type of protection on that fucking Ragnar Zero pop. If I just would have drawn something like, if I had drew an Aristruda or another Yamato or my second Mikazuki, I probably still would have won. So as you see, I get my 2 guys back, Yamato and Mikazuki. They both fall in the Bottomless. Now, obviously, I don't want to. I'm just going to let them die. I'm looking at my graveyard, and I'm like, I've got hair in there. I can only save one of them. If I do save one of them, all he's going to do is pop the other one with Ragnar Zero anyway. So technically, he'll go +1. I'm like, fuck that. I'll just let him die instead. It makes no sense for me to save them, considering I can't get the attack through anyway. And if I normal summon Turtle and I try and exceed, the second I normal summon Turtle, he's going to pop whichever one I save. So there's really no way out because Ragnar Zero can be used on both turns. If it couldn't be used on both turns, yeah, obviously I would have just protected Yamato and then I would have tried to exceed with Turtle. So regardless, the bottomless trap hole fucks up my plans and I set Turtle. So again, had that been a Beast Warrior, I'd have summoned it and attacked, and when he tried to use Zero's effect, I would have used Hair. I don't believe that that face down is anything important, and we already know the other face down is Goyoku. So you see that Neshi is looking at his graveyard, probably thinking, and honestly, I kind of thought that I was going to get gamed right here, because I was like, alright, well, he has Spirit, and he already has 24 on board, and all I have is a bluff Turtle, so I'm probably just going to lose. Neshi is looking at his extra deck. It must be Neshi's birthday or something for him to put happy birthday in his avatar like that. Maybe his birthday was recently or it's coming up. And he's still looking in the extra deck. Still looking, still looking. Still looking. I mean, I thought the play was obvious here. I thought the play was summon, considering I have no back row, I thought the play was summon Spirit, get Leo, synchro for Horse Prince, get the third rooster, you know, like you get another bear, I guess. You get the last bear in your deck, you know what I mean? And then you just attack, attack, attack for game. All you have to do is just attack highest to lowest. I mean, hell, you can, if he can attack with, yeah, he can attack with the Ragnar Zero, and that situation kill the turtle and still win through damage, because Horse Prince is 2200 and Rooster's 1500, so that's just game right there. Which is why I really didn't understand why he was taking Nesh so long to do his play. Oh, by the way, now we have 170 people watching. So beginning of this duel, we had like 38, and now we have like 170. So it's interesting to see how things change in the span of a duel. Maybe we were the top ranked duel, I would imagine. So both players 17, like around 1750 rating. And at this point, I'm about to clock him. I'm about to be like, dude, make your effing play. You damn law fan. So he's saying, dang, he's looking at my banish zone, which is not relevant. Same thing with my graveyard. Whenever Bujins set a card, their graveyard becomes irrelevant. I can't get protection if my monsters are set. I can't get protection from targeting or destruction or any of that stuff. He says he's searching for a safe play, and I'm like, dude, if you realize how bad my situation is, any play is a fucking safe play. He says it depends on your top deck. I think that he knows that I have Crane. I think that he knows that I have Crane. Alright, so he does the play that I talked about probably like 10 minutes ago, and the obvious play. You go Spirit, you either get Leo or you get either Leo or Rooster. It doesn't matter because he's just gonna synchro into 5 or 6. Well, no, yeah, it's 6. I'm sorry. For some reason, I was thinking it's 5. He gets Gorilla. He goes for Horse Prince. Oh, okay, that's why he didn't get Leo. He got Gorilla because he could trigger its effect. Then he got Leo to defense mode. At that point, I actually thought, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not going to lose this turn. And he must only run 2 roosters. So he enters battle phase. He attacks with Horse Prince. I know I'm going to eat 24. Now here's the thing though. I've now got 2 layers of protection. So I'm like, please, Kami, give me a Beast Warrior. Kami means God in Japanese if you didn't know. And of course, I draw Breakthrough Skill. Like, after he's already used fucking Spirit twice. Now I draw my Breakthrough Skill. That's great. So I just discard everything and I just scoop it up. I'm like, alright, I'm done. I'm done. So now we need to go side deck time. I'm taking out the full houses, bringing in a 3rd Breakthrough Skill, because every time, for the most part, when people get Spirit off, they generally don't lose. I like siding in Mind Crush a lot against Fire Fist players, because if you don't have MST for the Tinky, or you don't have a way of blowing the Tinky up, then obviously you can just Mind Crush whatever they get from the Tinky, and it's just as good. I take out Aristruda for, I think, a Veiler. Yeah, I side in like 1 random Veiler, I think. Okay, maybe not, for a Dark Hole. And then that's it. I think I did an average job of siding at best. But going first, this duel should be in my favor. So I feel like as long as I get a pretty decent hand, I should be able to squeak out a pretty routine victory game too. And Nesh is obviously still sighting. 164 people watching. And I wonder how many of them are talking about One Piece. It's not often that you see two people dueling on Dueling Network with custom avatars. In addition, custom avatars from the same show or anime. Like that's probably not gonna happen ever. So this was really random, and that's why I was like, I'm gonna record this because this happened. So even the first thing I said to Nesh, I was like, this is ironic now, isn't it? So Nesh is kind of taking forever to side. I don't take very long to side. Like I've realized almost my entire side deck is traps. You know, Blackhorn, Debunk, Fairy Wind. What else do I have in there? I've got the last breakthrough skill, Double Mind Crush. You know what I mean? Like traps take up pretty much all of my spots. I think the only non-trap I have in there is Valor, and I just added Valor in because, well, Dark Hole. I just added Valor in because sometimes you can max C Madoche players and they'll just be like YOLO and they'll fucking OTK you because of that bitch Tiramisu. It's like, you know, I can have all these protection from, you know, targeting and destruction, and then my opponent goes like Tiramisu, and then I'm like, okay, well fuck, all my monsters get sent back and I just get gamed. So I decided to side in Valors for basically Madoche, and I guess like in case I run into Heretics, because Madoche, if you have breakthrough skill, that shit's not guaranteed to go off against them, because a lot of times they can either they can either trap stun the breakthrough skill, or they can what's it called? If not trap stun it, they can wiretap it. All right, so you see I opened up with Yamato, Bottomless, Tinky. This hand is pretty much identical to the hand of the first game too. A Bottomless, Yamato, like the same, and Bujin Carnation, like the same hand. So, and it's a really good hand too. It's just I got max C this time, so I'm really good. All right, so you see during the end phase, I dump hair. I've got my MST in case he, you know, plays like Light Imprisoning Mirror. I've got my Bottomless for the bear summon. I feel good. He plays Goyoku, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna MST that as soon as he does something else. And then he plays Tenki, and I'm like, fuck, I'd rather MST the Tenki. I don't care about Bottomless anymore. I'd rather just MST the Tenki. Then he plays D-Fissure, and I'm like, fuck, I want to MST that. So he played 3 things in one turn, and I wanted to MST all of them. So I'm like, damn, I should have waited twice. So anyways, I'm like, fuck it. Yamato, you're officially expendable now. So I'm like, all right, well, usually I don't attack in the back row, but when my opponent proves to me they don't have any monsters, obviously things change considering I have 2 monsters. So I activate Yamato's effect, and at this point I really just want to get something banished so that my Carnation will be live. So I banish Yamato, I banish Quillen, and I pass back to Nesh. Now this was, I sided out full house, and I was like, damn it, why did I do that? Clearly I'd be able to full house the fuck out of him if I had it. But regardless, after passing, I'm just like, alright, well, I'm not going to summon anything. All I'm going to do is just keep attacking with Yamato. I'm going to activate its effect a couple of times. And the reason I activated its effect right now is because, okay, I figured if he has D-Fissure out and I don't have a way of getting rid of it, obviously this Max C ain't going to help. So I'm like, fuck that. I'm going to banish Max C and I'm going to get more beat sticks. And I thought about it. I was like, his graveyard, even if he had Spirit, his graveyard ain't even set up. So, like, the chances of him special summoning right now are really low. You know, he can't use the hands because he has D-Fissure out. He can't use Spirit because he has no graveyard. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to get rid of Max C, and I'm just going to keep on attacking. Now, here's the conundrum that I'm in, right? Let's say I attack. Now, I top deck another Tenki, and I'm like, damn, I almost have too many Beast Warriors here. I'm like, all right, I'm going to attack. And then I'm going to play Tenki in main phase 2. Or no, I guess I'm just going to leave my Tenki in my hand. I didn't want to potentially get Mind Crushed right now and lose 2 monsters. So you see he Dust Tornadoes me. That is breakthrough skill. And I'm like, damn, I really wanted that breakthrough skill. And then he just sets another card. And I'm just like, man, does he really have no more monsters? And I drew another breakthrough skill. And I'm like, okay, well, good. All right, and I lost the first one. Obviously, I gained the second one. I attack into a D-Prison, which I'm like, okay, that's not a big deal at all. And I'm going to summon Yamato. Ask him if he has any response. And I was thinking my Yamato was going to hit the field safely. I really was. Because he just seems to have a whole bunch of traps. Now here's the thing. I banished Yamato, and I really was thinking about using the rabbit or the hare that's in my graveyard. The problem is I really want to keep my Carnation live. So I was thinking, all right, well, if he summons something, obviously I'll be able to go into Bujin Carnation, and I'll be able to go for 2 monsters. Like, he doesn't really, I don't see him outbeat sticking me right now. So I kind of just figured I would just fight the beat stick war. Like, he doesn't really have enough monsters to win that war against me. And with breakthrough skill, I can negate pretty much any effect he throws in my face, which I would assume right now the best one would be Bear. But then since he kept setting monsters, I was like, all right, well, shit, I'm just going to keep on attacking. So he already knew that I had Yamato. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to tackle Yamato. I summon it, and I'm asking if he has a response, or we're going to see if he has any type of responses, which it doesn't look like he does. Again, for the most part, that D-Fissure and the that Goyoku haven't really done anything. You have to think, if I would have MST'd the Goyoku, I would have had a dead bottomless pretty much this entire game. So now I'm like, okay, well, I guess it was smart for me to MST the Tenki of all things, because it seems to be doing the most. I looked at my graveyard and I'm like, okay, well, there's really nothing I can do against a Light Mirror. And then he activates Torrential Tribute. Now, you see I try to special summon Mikazuki, and that's a totally illegal play there because my monster did not go to the graveyard. So, yay, cheating for the win. So, I put Mikazuki back in my hand, and I tell him I'm still in main phase 1. And I thought about using my graveyard and using that hare to summon Hiromi and attack. And then I was like, well, it still leaves him with 100 life points. But then I can't use my Carnation. So I was like, fuck it. I'll just pass. You know what I mean? I was like, I want to use my Carnation. I definitely want to be able to have it live. So I set Mind Crush, hoping that he would finally draw a Tenki. And then I drew Honest, and I'm like, damn, this card's dead too. So regardless, I just summoned Mikazuki, I attack. He only has 200 life points left. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, I can attack him. If that doesn't work, main phase 2, I can Cowboy him. You know what I mean? I was like, I got options here. I got a bunch of options here. He sets a monster finally, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna keep attacking. Hopefully he'll use D-Prison or something. It ends up being a Spirit, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll take the +1. As long as I'm not in danger of losing, I'll take +1s all day. You see he activates Dust Tornado. He hits my breakthrough skill again. That's the second time. It's uncanny how this man could just target breakthrough skills. And then he sets a card, and you see I go for Battle Phase to attack. I attack him to a D-Prison, so I mean he's hanging on by a thread right now. I'm like, damn, this bastard is just, he's hanging on here. And I had a decision to make. He says, I'm surviving, I'm still surviving, oh my god, and I'm like, not for long. Doesn't that sound like just an evil anime villain thing to say, not for long? You know what I mean? So I set the MST, and I could have used it on Light Mirror, but I'm like, fuck, clearly I have the beat stick advantage. Not to mention, I can just summon Honest and win. So I'm going to try and get the back row out. He doesn't have a way of stopping my attack, so I win game 2. So now we go to game 3, the decisive game 3, to decide who is better. So now you see I'm doing some trash talking. Trash talking is part of Yu-Gi-Oh, guys. Don't be mad. I say you lost because Law is weak. And clearly that he wasn't happy. I think I went to the chat to see their reaction on that. So, alright, I'm taking out the Mind Crushes because I'm going second. I bring in some full houses. And I just wanted to see what people were saying in the chat. I figured that I was going to rile them up with that. And I think I take out some Maxis because it wasn't doing much against his deck. I mean, I figured not only was he siding Dimensional Fissure, but there was a chance he was going to side deck in, what do you call that guy? Macrocosmos. Like, even I might leave some Maxis. No, that's what it was. I wanted to leave some Maxis in because I realized if he opens Spirit and I have no way of countering, I just lose. So I was like, even though Dimensional Fissure clearly fucks Maxi up, if he spirits me, like if Fire Fist open with that Spirit bullshit, I just lose. So I'm trying to counterbalance between having strong openings, you know, for going second, and then still having practical cards that I can use once we're about even advantage. So again, I'm just looking at the chat and I'm like, I wonder how much One Piece they're talking. And they're talking a lot of One Piece. So you see that I'm done sighting. Nesh is taking all day as usual. But he's opening, he's going first. And now we're actually up to 200 watchers. So again, we started this duel with 34, and now we're up to 200. And here's the incredible thing, guys. I only sighted in one Effect Veiler and I drew it. That was crazy, right? So I drew Maxi and Veiler, and I was like, please come at me with that spirit bullshit. I was like, please come at me, bro. Come at me with that spirit bullshit, because I got the perfect counter hand. Not only do I have Veiler and Maxi, but I've got a way to get to my Yamato, and I've got 2 cranes. So if you put a big monster on board, clearly I'll be forced to crane it, but still, I get it off board. So you see that he's talking about Masic, which is the guy who plays the frog deck, and I'm like, did he get like rank 1 on DN? Everybody loves Masic, mainly because I mean he's taken such an original deck and he's fucking people up with it. No one knows how to play against that damn frog deck. So he has Spirit in his hand, and I'm like, fuck. Okay, well, I don't usually like to use Veiler on Leo. I like for people to commit their Tensu, and that's exactly what he does. He plays Tensu, and you see I get my Effect Veiler ready to go, and I usually Veiler the Spirit because, I mean, it just, you know, Spirit's on board, and now you can't use the effect again. So he plays Soul Charge, and obviously I got to burn my Max C now. And I draw another Max C, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to draw Max C into Max C. That's really not good. So I'm looking at what he's gonna do. Now he put Spirit into the graveyard, and I drew a card, and I was like, okay, I guess that means he's gonna synchro. And I was like, okay, well, I guess that means he's not gonna synchro. So he ends up going into an XC instead. He ends up going into the Emperor instead, and I was like, okay, you know, that's still a pretty legit move. And then he plays D-Fissure on top of that, and I'm like, fuck, I don't know how good my Solemn Warning is going to be. And he plays the D-Fissure really fucks me up because obviously I can't use Crane him, but then I draw Dark Hole, and I'm like, all's forgiven. I was like, wow, that completely fucking bailed me out. You know, I could have been in a really bad spot there, and you see I give him the smiley face. I'm like, that was nice. So as you can see, he has 3 back rows, so all of his resources are already known. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously I'm going into Yamato, and I think I'm just going to attack. I wouldn't usually attack, but having D-Fissure out, there isn't really much. There's no reason not to attack. It gets bottomless regardless, so I just pass turn. Now, I would say that right now we're about even. You see he summons Leo, and I had to think about this one here. I had to think about this because if I warn the Leo and he has Bear, he just wins. If he has Bear in his hand, he wins. But then I was like, if I don't warn the Leo, he'll go Goyoku, and then he'll play Bear and win anyway. So I'm like, it doesn't make any difference. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna use warning anyway. So his set was his other card was a Speller Trap. So clearly that was the right call. So I just summon Crane and I attack, and I'm like, I top deck Fairy Wind, and I can get rid of all that shit he has on board. Not like my hand would be that much greater anyway, because you can't use Crane with Crane. So I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. And then he top decks Wolfbrook and summons it, and then he attacks, and I'm like, fucking yes! So you see I use Fairy Wind, and I'm like, not only am I going to get rid of all of those fucking janky-ass Fire Formation cards and D-Fissure, but I'm going to get a 1-for-1 out of this Battle Phase 2. I'm like, this is the best thing that could have happened. Like, thank God this guy isn't 1700, or I'd be, like, really, really fucked. So, you see I take some damage, we both lose our monsters, but still, I'm actually +1 in the duel. And I got rid of all of those fucking cards he had on board, so I feel really great. So I tell him, like, hey, dude, it's 4 cards. I'm like, my Tinky counts too. And Nash promptly responds with, he says 4 times 3. And I'm like, oh, yeah, 4 times 3 is 12. So I'm like, all right, well, fuck you and math. So I need to gain 400 life points. So our life lead is about even. Clearly, I'm +1, +2 now. And since I have a monster in my graveyard and a monster already banished and Yamato, I'm like, okay, me top decking Bujin Carnation, I'm playing with house money, baby. I'm like, I don't care if this fucking Crane dies. I got Carnation locked and loaded anyway, and I've got Max C. So you see here, I top deck a Tenki, and I'm like, wow, now I'm really rolling. Now, I was trying to think here. I was like, all right, well, maybe I thought about getting Harumi here, but I was like, okay, well, the only card that could really fuck me up is Torrential Tribute, and that's why I looked at his graveyard, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to risk it because I've got Carnation anyway, so house money. You see he ends up using Light Imprisoning Mirror. I'm surprised he used it before the end phase. Like, I was kind of surprised by that. So I'm like, all right, well, fuck it. I'm just going to XC up then. And I looked at my options here. Obviously, making all the Bujin monsters wouldn't have made a lot of sense. So I decided to go Ragnar Zero because it fucks up Fire Fist like it fucks up Bujins. And that falls into a Black Horn of Heaven. He top decks a Speller Trap and sets it. I top deck Hair, and I'm just like, I didn't even realize his life points were that low. And then I end up winning, and then I show him that I had Bujin Carnation, and I had Max C. And then, of course, we have to throw in some obligatory trash talking. I mean, why not? Like Asia and I said, sometimes trolling is just fun. It's part of the game. And when you have two villains, you have to talk. You have to trash talk. You got to troll. I mean, if not, why do we even play? So I go into the watching chat just to see what people are saying. And people are like, Cody Overlaw. And I'm like, you damn straight. I tell them good game, and that's the end of the match. Thank you guys for watching as always.